Well, it's a beautiful Sunday morning, April morning in Tallahassee. Everything is green and it's cool outside and really, really nice. The roses are in bloom and they're very fragrant. The clematis are blooming. I got several different varieties here that are blooming this morning. And here you see my mustard. After they had a big season of having some good mustard, I've let it go to seed, and it makes for a pretty background, pretty flowers. The bell peppers are all planted. They're the ones that be up there around 6-8 feet in months to come, and got some Swiss chard planted in the middle of them. And then the mustard greens provide some shade, not the mustard greens, the peppers and have some shade for the tomatoes are all planted. They look really good. They're coming along really great. First tomatoes are going to be the grape tomatoes. We got some coming along on those right now. The others got some blooms on them, but that's where they are now. Sugar snap peas have been just really great. However, it's the end of the season, and so they're all getting to where they're about dying back. And so that's a good thing in a way, because I'll have to take these out in the next 2 weeks and get my beans planted, my pole beans. Swiss chard, really, really neat stuff. The stalks, as you can see, are either white or they are sort of a rose colored, and some of them are yellow. As you can see, there's one back here that's yellow. Swiss chard is really good if you take it and put it in a frying pan with some olive oil and some garlic and cook it down. It goes great. And here's another clematis blooming. Just really, really beautiful this time of year. And it's right here next to my citrus trees. And so you can see right there the thing. And there's a bee that just flew out. And here's a little close-up of the mustard blooming. It's really a pretty little flower. And the bees, as you see, there's a bee here right now that's enjoying that mustard flower. Isn't that neat? There he is. Those bees, what they do is, they're good and bad. They go in and they pollinate all the flowers and stuff like that. Then what they do is, these bees, they go in and they dig holes in my fence post, and that's where they lay their eggs. There, but you gotta like the good and the bad. They don't hurt anything. They got some holes in there, but it doesn't hurt anything. And they come out and do their thing, and just like right now, as close as I am right now, I don't bother him and he doesn't bother me. And there is a rarity that I see around here. I have not seen a honeybee, but there's a honeybee here, which is good to see honeybees. And here we got a butterfly. Come around, and they're enjoying all these flowers blooming. There he is. He's been enjoying not only clematis, but over there on the southern variety of wildflowers. See a little yellow flower and some blue flowers. They come up there, and of course those are weeds, so they get dug up. But right now, leave them alone, and they're real pretty. Those are from a clover. Right, got some good mint coming along. We're all ready for the Kentucky Derby in the first part of May. You probably wouldn't know what this is, but this is a chive plant. This thing grows year after year after year, and it stays green all during the winter. Still a few kumquats remain. I've been using those. That's what I've been using, kumquat marmalade. Just not looking where I stepped on the side of this big ant bed that I've got. It's right by the driveway, and I sort of like leave it alone as long as they don't get over in the grass. And so I sort of stepped on it and riled them all up, and they got out there and got on my shoe and started biting on me. The satsumas are loaded with blooms, so we'll have a lot of satsumas this year. And here's another clematis I got growing in the front yard. It's coming along really well. It provides a lot of color and pretty flowers, and they last so long. Here's another variety of clematis that's growing, grows on my lamppost out here. It's been growing here for years. Comes along and blooms and has a real pretty flower. The camellias are pretty well gone. Just a few remain blooming. Most of them are all gone. Here's another one that's really pretty. They're really nice looking flowers. Well, everything's looking pretty good. The yard's in pretty good shape. I had Tommy, the young man that assists me right now, he was over here cleaning up yesterday, and he'll probably come back and do a few things today, but keeps everything looking pretty good. Here's another view of the satsumas, the two of them I got in the front yard. So say they're loaded with blooms, and so we'll have lots of satsumas. The front yard's looking pretty good. The azaleas have just about had it. And here's a new front door that I had just installed just a few months ago. The azalea flowers are still looking pretty good. And we got some wildflowers, some cloves blooming. Looks nice for a while, and then I have to dig it all up, but they'll always come back. The Nandina is looking great. It's still got a lot of berries on it. We didn't have any waxwing birds come in and eat the berries off this year. But they're looking pretty good, loaded down with berries. They're pretty. Here's another plant that I have growing in the yard. It's an exotic. It's Ardesia, and they tell you to go and chop them all down and get rid of them because they're an invasive plant, and it's just going to destroy the area if you let these things grow. But years ago I planted them. And they've scattered throughout, and they've out in the yard. They're really pretty plants, I think. And the birds. Here's another thing I planted in the yard. There isn't much of anything around in Tallahassee of them, growing naturally anyway. Is our state tree, the saber palm, and I got these seeds from down at the coast from plants down there, and I've scattered them all around, and so it's going to take a long many years for these things to get big, but someday somebody's going to be on this property and say, like, where in the world all these palm trees come from? Again, some Nandinas, they really grow, and they're beautiful, beautiful plants. They stay green year round. Here's another plant I've planted that don't belong here. You see that here, these are tung oil trees. A friend of mine gave me one years ago, and it blooms, has pretty flowers on in the spring, and has great big nuts that come on there. They used to make tung oil they use for varnish. So they're growing all around. They're really pretty plants, but they don't belong here. Another thing I enjoy here a lot, and you hear right now a lot of birds. Listen to this. And here's some English dogwood. It grows in the bush rather than like the tree dogwoods. Another blooming little wild plant. This grows real close to the ground, like a vine on the ground. It doesn't create any real problem. Pretty little bloom. Well, again this year I've got some pears on the tree. I had a lot of pears last year and probably have quite a few this year, but as far as being able to eat them and enjoy them, that's pretty much up to the squirrels.